I shot him 6 times, echoes in the night. Still he kept moving, something ain't right. Shells hit the concrete, blood on the line. Fear in the air, yeah, it's horror time. Welcome to the channel where the shadows stay alive. Sit back, hit subscribe.
What's going on, horror fanatics? I'm Marcus. Welcome to our Shot 'em 6 Times YouTube horror movie channel. In this video, I will be discussing Scream 7 and sharing my thoughts on why I now believe the scene of Stumacher's house where we see the house burning down, that is shown in the trailer, is not the opening scene of the movie like many of us thought. If you're a fan of Scream and other horror movie related content, shoot the like and hype buttons on this video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you are new to the channel, shoot the subscribe button followed by the bell icon for all content updates. So in the opening scene of the first trailer for Scream 7, we see Jimmy Tatro and Michelle Randolph's characters show up at Stumacher's house, which is now an Airbnb as well as home to a bunch of Stab movie memorabilia, where they have an encounter with Ghostface. Well, Michelle's character does anyway. We still don't know what happens to Tatro's character here in this moment at Stumacher's residence. But after presumably killing off Randolph's character, as well as Tatro's character unless we're proven otherwise, Ghostface lights a match and sets the Stumacher residence ablaze, destroying the most synonymous location known in the Scream/Stab franchise. So of course, on the first few watches of this trailer, you will most likely come away from this scene assuming that this will be the opening scene of the movie itself because of how it is structured in the trailer, and it still could be. But after going back and combing through the trailer for any evidence that could prove this thought to be wrong, I believe I may have found that evidence within the phone call between Ghostface and Sidney. Before discussing the phone calls, it is worth mentioning the brief moment where we see Sidney in what looks to be her house with a concerned look on her face. Initially, I thought this could be her seeing and or hearing a news bulletin about the Macher residence being burned down, but I now think if this is a scene where Sidney is receiving some type of news, it could be in regards to a different character and event taking place in that moment. Moving on to the phone call, as you can see where the arrow is pointed, the call to Sidney takes place at 10:28, which would be 7:28 Woodsboro time. Indiana is 3 hours ahead of California in time. Now, we don't know if this is AM or PM. They did a good job of keeping that aspect out of it. However, I am going to say the call happens at night because we do see Sidney at her house packing a bag wearing the same striped sweater right before Ghostface attacks her and her family in her home that we see in that scene at her office when Ghostface calls her. So I'm going to say the call and threats happen as she's leaving work for the day, which would explain her urgency to go home, pack a bag, and try to run from the situation. Now, based on what we hear in the trailer, Ghostface tells Sidney, "I'm going to burn it all down," in regards to the Macher residence and presumably the legacy of the past. If that line stays in the final cut of the film and is a part of the first conversation that Ghostface has with Sidney, then this would mean Ghostface is telling Sidney what they are going to do either before it happens or during the moment it's taking place. And knowing how there will be most likely one killer making the phone calls with the other or others doing the attacking, it's possible the events at Stu's house are happening when Ghostface is on the phone with her. Why either scenario is crucial is because it's clear to me when you rewatch the trailer, when we see Sidney get her first phone call from Ghostface, it looks like it takes place after the opening scene happens. And if the burn it all down line is a part of the full context of that first conversation, this would mean the events at Stu's house hasn't happened yet. I can't imagine this movie starts off directly introducing Sidney and her family as the opening scene before an attack or phone call occurs. Every movie starts off with an opening kill, or in Five's case, an attack scene. It's also worth mentioning if the phone call to Sidney takes place right before or during the Macher house attack scene, then the call would be at night because we know the attack scene at Stu's house takes place at night. If Ghostface were to call Sidney at 7:28 a.m. in Woodsboro time, during the exact moment the attacks at Stu's house is taking place, then there would be light outside as the couple is entering Stu's home, since the sun rises in California between 6 and 6:30 a.m. Now, do I believe the burn it all down line will be a part of the first conversation that Ghostface has with Sidney in Scream 7? No, I don't, because I feel if it is, then they would directly have to pan over to that scene playing out, and I feel that would be a misplacing of the scene in itself. The scene would have to be an opening of the movie or a cliffhanger ending of the movie, in my opinion. That would lead us into Scream 8. And that's exactly what I think we are getting. I think we are getting a two-part Stumacher angle for both films 7 and 8, with this scene at Stu's house serving as the cliffhanger ending in Scream 7. That will prove no matter who's revealed in 7, there is at least one more killer out there that will go unrevealed until the 8th film, as well as proving that Stumacher does not have to return in Scream 7 to finish out this storyline, especially since it's heavily rumored that Scream 7's storyline is supposed to continue into Scream 8. I feel this scene would serve better as an ending anyway as opposed to a beginning, because if the film ends with Ghostface walking away from Stumacher's burning house, now you have something that will hook audiences, whether diehard or casual, into going to see Scream 8, because they're going to want to know who this killer is who went unrevealed, even if they are 100% certain that they know who the killer is. I can easily see Sidney getting a call at the end of the movie from Ghostface, quoting Roman, "Do you think this is over, Sidney?" Then saying the line, "I'm going to burn it all down," with the scene then cutting to Stu's house directly after that line is spoken. And that's the thing for me, y'all. In my opinion, bringing Stu back in Scream 8 instead of Scream 7 is actually the better option. Because if we Stu truthers believe him to be the mastermind behind these new murders in Pine Grove, then revealing him at the end of 7, knowing the story isn't over and will connect and continue in 8's film, doesn't make much sense, because then someone can make the argument that Stu's not the mastermind behind these new murders. And the last thing I want to see for Stu's character, if he is revealed alive and he's going to be a Ghostface again, the last thing I want for his character is to be the lackey to the real mastermind again, like he was with Billy in the first film. If he's going to be brought back alive, he must be written as the mastermind and as if he's the ultimate and most prolific Ghostface to ever do it, with the hook of that narrative being he was the only killer, thought to be dead, that is alive, who made it to the sequel that he so desperately desired to make. But alright everyone, that is it for the Scream 7 related video. Leave a comment down in the comment section below with your thoughts and opinions. Do you think the scene in the trailer at Stumacher's house is the opening scene of Scream 7? Or, based on my reasonings that I gave in this video, do you think this scene will be the cliffhanger ending that leads us from Scream 7's film into Scream 8's film? Be sure to also let me know, where would you place this scene at Stumacher's house in the movie if it were your choice to choose? Once again, I am Marcus and this is Asham 6 Times YouTube Horror Movie Channel. Follow me on all of my social media platforms. Thank you all for watching.